it's Caitlin and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you 2 easy vegan recipes that you can make in an air fryer. If you've never heard of an air fryer before, it's basically a kitchen appliance that works by circulating hot air through a sort of fan. Unlike an oven where the heat only comes from the top and the bottom, the heat completely surrounds your food in the air fryer, which is why it's able to make your food super crispy, almost as if it was deep fried, but you don't have to use any oil at all. Honestly, when I first heard about air fryers a few years ago, I was like, that's just like an oven. I don't need it. But now that I have one and I've actually used it, I can tell you it honestly makes a difference and I'm kind of obsessed. This video is sponsored by Avalon Bay, who made the air fryer that I currently use and love. I'm really happy with the quality of their products, and honestly I've heard from a few different friends who own air fryers that a lot of air fryers seem to have a common problem where the bottom basket doesn't really lock well or seal well into the compartment, and it's kind of finicky and hard to handle with. But the Avalon Bay air fryer that I have doesn't have this problem at all, and I feel like it cooks the food really well, so I'm really happy with the product. If you don't have an air fryer, you're probably going to want one by the end of this video, so luckily for you, Avalon Bay is offering you all a 35% discount when you use my code and the link that's in the description of this video. So be sure to check that out either before the video or after the video, but it will be there and you should check it out. But that's all I have to say for now, so let's get into air frying. First up, I'm going to show you guys how you can make crispy onion rings without oil. This recipe is super simple. You really only need like 6 ingredients. So to start out, you're going to need 2 to 3 onions depending on the size, and you're just going to cut the ends off of the onion. And then to take the outer skin off, I like to make a small incision with a knife that just cuts through the skin, and then I peel the tough part off using my hands. It should come off pretty easily. So now we're going to cut our onion rings. You want them to be between 1/2 to 2/3 of an inch thick. Just go through the whole onion. So each onion has layers, as you can see, and I've tested this recipe and I think it works best when you use 2 layers of the onion for each onion ring. So you're just going to pop out the inside of the onion till you get your onion ring, and you can repeat this with each segment of the onion so you'll get smaller and smaller onion rings, but they're still going to taste delicious, and just repeat this with all of your onions. So now that we have our onion rings, we're going to make our dry mix first by using some panko breadcrumbs, some turmeric, some paprika, and a pinch of salt. And the turmeric and paprika are just really there for color, but you're going to whisk everything together. And then we're actually going to separate the dry mix into 2 separate bowls. This is because it tends to get a little sticky as you go on, and I found that it's best to separate it and just work with half of a mixture at each time. So now for our wet mix, you're going to need some plant-based milk, some flour. You can use any flour you want, gluten-free, whole wheat, regular, it does not really matter. You're also going to add some turmeric and paprika again, and then this time we're going to add a little bit more salt to flavor our onion rings. Then you're just going to whisk this together until the batter is well incorporated. And the key to making onion rings is to use separate hands. So one hand's for the wet mix, one hand is for the dry mix, and you'll be all good. Otherwise, it can get a little bit messy. So you're going to take your onion ring, dip it in the wet mix, and kind of shake it off a little bit so it's not too wet. Then you're just going to coat it in the dry breadcrumbs, and I actually like to pick up some of the breadcrumbs and spread it on top. I found that that was the best way to get them to stick to the onion ring. Then you're just going to repeat this until you're out of onion rings. You should have a little bit of mix left over, but you shouldn't have too much. So now for the easiest part, we're just going to cook these up in our Avalon Bay air fryer. I would recommend doing multiple batches. For this one, you don't really want them to touch too much. So you're going to pop those into the air fryer, and we're going to cook these in the air fryer at 400 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes. Then afterwards, as you can see, they come out looking super nice and golden brown and crispy, thanks to the Avalon Bay air fryer. And if you're ready to serve them, you can put them all on a plate. I did about 3 batches total, and you can serve them as is, but I'm pretty sure most people eat onion rings with ketchup, but I mean, if you want some other thing to dip them in, you can do that too. Next, we're going to be making some veganized animal-style fries. These fries are from a restaurant called In-N-Out Burger in California, but I feel like they're pretty popular, so I wanted to make a vegan version. So first, we're going to make a vegan version of the secret sauce by using some silken tofu, lemon juice, nutritional yeast, ketchup, some white wine vinegar, And then I also added some dates, but you could use liquid sweetener as well. Then you're just going to blend this up until everything is nice and smooth. And then we're going to pulse a few tablespoons of sweet relish in to give it the final touch. And there you have our special sauce, so we can just set that aside. And next we're going to caramelize our onions for the fries. And this is relatively easy as well. We're going to make pretty thick segments of our onion. So after I cut the ends off of my onion, I just like to cut it in half. And then from there, that's when I peel the tough skin off of the onions. And then I wanted my onion segments to be pretty thick. So I kind of cut them like the same width that I did for the onion rings, about like 1/2 inch. And you just do that with both sides of the onion. If you want them to be a little bit thinner, you could cut them thinner as well, but I like them thick. I feel like it has more texture. Then to caramelize our onions, we're just going to add a splash of vegetable broth to a pan and then add in our onions. And this does take a little bit of time, but caramelizing regular onions without oil too takes time. So you're just going to saute the onions over medium heat in the pan and continue to add vegetable broth as the pan dries up. And the key is to really saute the onions until there is no liquid left in the pan, then kind of let them sit in the pan for a little bit, and then you add the vegetable broth to deglaze the pan. So you're going to have to do this a few times. I used about 1.5 cups of vegetable broth in total, but as you can see, gradually the onions are becoming darker and darker and more caramelized. And this is the key to that sweet caramelized flavor. And the vegetable broth also adds some really great flavor and salt, which is crucial for caramelized onions, in my opinion. So after we have our caramelized onions, we can just set those aside. And then we're going to make our fries, which is the final step. So you're going to need about 3 to 4 russet potatoes. Mine were pretty small, so I used 4. And I wanted to show you guys how I cut my fries. Again, I like to cut about like 1/2 inch segments using my knife, and I just do that for the whole potato. And then after I've cut it, that's pretty much the width of my fry. And then I tend to cut each potato half into 3 or 4 pieces depending on how thick it is. If it's a really fat potato, maybe I'll do 5. I don't peel my fries, but you can if you want. So after you cut up all of your potatoes, we're just going to season them with a little bit of smoked paprika and some salt. And the smoked paprika is really there again to give color to the fries. I find that it makes them look nice and golden. And you can use regular paprika too. I just am obsessed with smoked paprika. So then next we're going to put our fries again into our Avalon Bay air fryer and pop them in, make sure it's nice and sealed. And we're going to bake these at 400 degrees for around 20 minutes. But every 5 minutes or so, you're going to take the air fryer out and give it a little shake just to make sure the fries are well coated, because they're kind of laying on top of each other. They might stick to each other. So this just ensures that they'll be nice and golden brown and crispy when they come out, like you can see right here. So now we're just going to assemble our animal style fries. First, you can just add all of your fries, then layer on those caramelized onions, and then last but not least, we're going to drizzle some of that secret special sauce, whatever they call it, on top. I was so happy with how this recipe came out. I thought it looked just like the original. It tasted amazing, and I loved how it was oil-free, and it was actually pretty healthy for you too. And that is it for this video. I wanted to recreate vegan versions of classic fried foods to show you the capabilities of the air fryer, but I also wanted to note that air fryers can do so much more. You don't just have to recreate fried foods. I love it because it cooks things in like half of the time. I love to use it for Brussels sprouts and baked tofu. It makes some of the best tofu I've ever had in my life. It's perfectly crispy on the outside but soft on the inside, and it only takes like 10 minutes. It's the easiest lazy dinner edition, and it's really delicious. Let me know in the comments below if you would rather try these onion rings or these animal style fries first, and also if you have an air fryer, let me know your favorite thing to cook in it, because I personally love playing with it and am probably going to try that out. And like I said earlier, if you don't have an air fryer yet, don't forget to check out that link for the Avalon Bay air fryer, and you get an awesome little discount too. So it's really a win-win. You get to fry foods without oil and you get a discount. What else could you want? If this is your first time seeing one of my videos and you like what you see here, feel free to hit that little subscribe button right down there. I post 2 new videos every single week, and they usually revolve around healthy vegan recipes, meal prep, budget-friendly things, grocery hauls, that kind of stuff. So if that sounds like something that you would want to learn more about, feel free to hit that button. Like I already said, I'm being redundant, so I'm going to end the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video, hopefully. Bye!